Hello everyone, so this is your teacher Mohammed Frij, and I hope that you are fine. Today we are going to start a new lesson. It's about the past perfect, so let's start. Right now, as you can see, this is a video and we are going to watch the video and answer these questions. What's the name of the sport? What's the name of the player? And what did he do? Let's watch the video together.
The wide men have found little space in this contest. It's not true. Oh, I think you're a chair at the moment. Certainly it's been true of the England team. You've seen that much of Marjorie or Trevor Stephen. Evidently just walked away from Motherland.
Yeah, so we don't have to finish everything. So, what's the name of the sport? What's the name of the player? Yeah, and what did he do? Yeah. So, let's see the answers. So, the name of the sport is football. That's very easy. The name of the player is Diego Maradona. And what did he do? Of course, he cheated. So, before we start our lesson, we need to review some very important vocabulary. Number one is cheat, to violate rules in order to gain advantage from a situation. It is a verb. The past form of cheat is cheated because it's regular. Score, to score a goal in a football game. It is a verb. The past form is scored. It is regular verb. As you can see, if you can see these pictures, they show you context of the vocabulary so that it's easier to understand. Number three, protest, to make a strong objection or to stand strong for an opinion. It is a verb. The past form is protested. It is regular. As you can see, these football players are protesting. They don't like the referee's judgment and they are protesting. The referee is an official or judge who makes sure that rules are respected and followed in a game or competition. This is a referee. So people use these types of jobs in order to make sure that rules are respected. When, and it's the last piece of vocabulary, when is to achieve victory in a game, gain a prize or succeed in an exam or a competition. When is a verb. The past form is won. It's irregular. The difference between regular verbs and irregular verbs is that with regular verbs we only add ed when it's in the past. But irregular verbs, the form of the verb changes. For example, here, when the form of the verb changes, it became won. But here, cheat, the form of the verb, it doesn't change, but we only add ed. Let's move on. Over here, we have a text and we are going to read and answer these three questions. Find in the text tenses do we use for completed actions in the past, an action in progress or continuous at a moment in the past, an action that happened before the past time we are talking about, meaning that we have two actions in the past, one action happened before another action. Let's read. Argentina were playing England in the quarterfinals of the 1986 World Cup in Mexico. In the 52nd minute, the Argentinian captain Diego Maradona scored a goal. The English players protested, but the referee gave the goal. However, the TV cameras showed that Maradona has scored the goal with his hand. Maradona said the next day it was partly the hand of Maradona and partly the hand of God. Later in the game, Maradona scored another goal and Argentina won 2-1. They went on to win the World Cup. They went on to win, the World Cup. So, completed actions in the past, you can pause the video and if you want to answer, you can answer. Let's continue. Number 6, here are the answers. So, a completed action in the past, Diego Maradona scored the goal. You can find it in the text if you want to. Number 2, an action in progress at a moment in the past or a continuous action in the past. Argentina were playing England in the World Cup in Mexico. Now, the most important sentence, and it's the one that we are going to learn today, is sentence number 3. An action that happened before the past time we are talking about. So here we have 2 actions in the past, and this is what we call the past perfect. As you can see, TV cameras showed that Maradona had scored the goal with his hand. Let's move on to this place. Past perfect. TV cameras showed that Maradona had scored the goal with his hand. So we have 2 actions. Action number 1, had scored, and action number 2, TV cameras showed. This is the verb in the past, verb to show. Had scored must be written in the past participle because it's action number 1. So he scored the goal and then TV cameras showed that he had scored the goal with his hand. So action number 1 is in the past participle and action number 2 is in the past simple, as you can see here in the timeline. So we have, this is the past, present, and future. In the past, we have 2 actions. Here, Maradona had scored the goal with his hands. And second, TV cameras showed that Maradona had scored the goal with his hand. Let's move on. This is the affirmative form and affirmative, negative, and interrogative forms. I, or he, she, it, or you scored. I had scored. She had scored. It doesn't matter. This is the affirmative form. We can choose any subject and follow that with had, which is verb to have in the past participle. And then the next verb is written also in the past participle. Had scored. Had scored. The negative form, I, or you, or he, or she, it, we, you, they, you can choose whatever you want. I had not scored. And now, as you can see in the interrogative form, we switch the position of the verb to have and the subject. As you can see here, we start with had. Had I scored? Had you scored? Had he or she or it scored? As you can see here, she had scored. She had not scored. Had she scored? That's the negative, the question form. Let's move on. This is the rule. Past perfect. Had plus past participle. This is an example. When they turned on the TV, the match had finished. So, which action is number 1? Of course, action number 1 is had finished. And action number 2 is the time when they turned on the TV. So always action number 1 must be written in the past participle and action number 2 must be written in the past simple. So this is the use of the past perfect. We use the past perfect when you are talking about the past and you want to talk about an earlier past action. So we have 2 actions in the past. You are talking about an action that happened before in a past time. So this is the past perfect. Let's move on. This is another exercise. You can read this text one more time and answer these questions. So you can answer them from the text, especially number one, the TV cameras, that Maradona, the goal with his hands. Actually, it's one hand, it's not different hands. Yeah. They discover that the password. We have dinner when my father to the house yesterday. So these sentences, which one do you think is action one, and which one do you think is action two? Is it show or score? The TV cameras show that Maradona scored the goal with his hand. Of course, action number one is to score, because he scored the goal and then TV cameras showed that he had scored with his hand. Number two, they discover something, that he changed the password. So they discovered that he had changed the password. That's the answer, because he changed the password before, and then they knew and they discovered that he had changed the password. So action number one is changing the password. Action number two, they discovered that he had changed the password. So you can pause the video and do number three if you want. Let's review the answers. Exercise 2, answers. The TV cameras showed that Maradona had scored the goal with his hands. They discovered that he had changed the password. We had dinner when my father came to the house yesterday. Had used to confuse me before, and it's very simple and easy, because verb to have is written in the past, and then we use had of the past perfect, and now we have two hads. Had. We had dinner when my father came to the house yesterday. So, my friends, if you want to test your knowledge, you can of course visit this website. Let's visit it together. Copy. Let's go to Google Chrome or any search engine that you are using, guys. So this is the page of practice. You can practice and check your knowledge of this lesson. See you later. Bye.